Welcome back, and I'd like to offer today a brief word study on an important New Testament word, so let's get started here. It's the Greek word peirazo that you learn in your vocabulary as tempt or test. But as we look into the lexicon and into some of the ways that this word or word family is used, there are numerous different nuances, and again, context is always so critical. Now, it can be used in just a sort of a neutral sense to try or attempt. Thus, for example, after Paul's encounter with Jesus on the Damascus Road, the disciples that were in Jerusalem were all afraid of him. So when he, meaning Paul, had come to Jerusalem, he attempted to join the disciples. And they were very afraid of him, and certainly their fears were understandable. It can be used in a positive way to try, make trial of, or put to the test to discover what kind of person someone is. For example, Paul says, test yourself to see if you are in the faith. In a good sense of God or Christ who put people to the test, it's used in this way in John 6 when Jesus tested one of his disciples about feeding the 5,000 men that were there. It's used in this way in the Septuagint of Genesis 22:1. After these things, the Lord tested Abram, and this is in reference to the sacrifice of Isaac. And King James, I think, very wrongly translates this, God tempted Abraham. Now, thirdly, it can be used in a bad sense of an enticement to sin. So, for example, in Galatians, restore such a person to yourself. This is someone that's fallen into sin, lest you also be tempted. The devil works in this way as the tempter. And so we have ha perazon, the one who tempts, meaning the one who entices to sin. In 1 Corinthians 7:5, where Paul is speaking about a married couple who may abstain from sexual intercourse for a period of time to devote themselves more specifically to prayer. But then he says, but then come together again, meaning have sexual union again, lest Satan tempt you through lack of self-control. The fourth sense, the Bible also speaks of a trial of God by people, where people are trying to put God into a box or force God to act. Their intent is to put him to the test, to discover whether he can do a certain thing, whether God notices sin, is able to punish it. We have this use in Exodus 17. In Acts 15:10, to tempt God, here we have peirazein, which is an infinitive of this verb, to tempt God, consists in the fact that after God has clearly made his will known by granting his Spirit to Gentiles, some doubt God and make trial of him, meaning put him to the test to see whether he will really make his will operative. And then in Matthew 4:7, in the temptation narrative, Jesus uses the compound form of ek, the preposition that's attached to the verb form, to describe the nature of the proposed pinnacle jump. You shall not force a test upon the Lord your God, and this is drawn from Deuteronomy 6:16. So again, we have this one word, and it's used in different nuances, different contexts, and again, context is always so critical.